Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yehuda, grafted in Gentiles into the body of Mashiach. Jerusalem. Jerusalem. It's a place, but it's a people. It's a people. It's Yahuda. It's a place and it's a people. We're listening to Hezekiah. The song is titled Jerusalem. I don't own the rights to this music. The objective is to receive the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, to be established in his kingdom by the Ruach HaKodesh, and to be gathered according to Ezekiel 36 and 23 through 28. To be gathered, to be established in the Ruach HaKodesh, to keep his Torah by the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen. This is what it is. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, that by your Ruach HaKodesh in me, you will take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuwah, that you would say exactly what needs to be said and that you would not hold back. Because Yahuwah, I submit myself as an instrument of righteousness in everything that you want to say in the Ruach HaKodesh. I yield myself, Yahuwah, to you and your word. The word that you gave Yahusha. He has given to me. Yahukanan recorded it and I've received it in Himunah, never having seen Yahusha. I never having eyewitnessed him. But I received the report and I cleaved to it. And because I have you rewarded me and you've given me your Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of me, you put your seal in me. Yahuwah, my father sealed me as a baby, not even understanding the covenant of circumcision, the Abrahamic covenant. You sealed me. I was set apart as a people, but you fulfilled this. And Yahusha HaMashiach in me at an early age, giving me your Ruach HaKodesh because I wanted what the scripture said it looked like. And these signs have followed me throughout my life, and I know it now. I understand it. I see it. I understand it, Yahuwah. You have broke forth in me by the Ruach HaKodesh of truth, the revelation. A revelation of truth concerning the Ruach HaKodesh and the need for us to receive this gift, to walk in this witness in order to be established in your kingdom. Yahuwah, I pray that none be turned out of the way. I pray that none be turned out of the way. I pray that none be turned out of the way, none come up lame, none Yahuwah, none that hear, that are under the sound of my voice. Yahuwah, I know that this word is to those that you have chosen. Yeah. Everybody ain't going to receive it, and it's okay, Yahuwah, because you know what? The witness is what it is. Your word says it convicts of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. Yahuwah, I received the witness. And in me, Yahuwah, by the words that I speak, convict of sin. By the words that I speak, that are your words, reveal righteousness. Yahuwah, this word is for those who will receive it and who will listen to it and who will dig deep and research it. And then receive the witness of it. Yahuwah, I give you praise. Yahuwah, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Listen. The witness is for a people. The witness is for a people that Yahuwah has chosen. amongst Yasharal and Yehuda and amongst the other nations. Right? The kingdom. Those he hath quickened, those he hath made alive, those he has sealed, those who have given him, those he has given the ruach hakodesh of truth. The earnest of their inheritance, the down payment, right, to the purchased possession, to the time that he gathers us. And he's going to gather those who have received the ruach hakodesh and those who keep his laws and statutes and commandments. And listen, you can keep them. Because if you have the ruach hakodesh, you can do it. You'll be established, right? Now listen, being Hebrew alone ain't going to get it. You ain't going to be established in being Hebrew alone. You ain't going to be established in keeping the law apart from Yahusha HaMashiach, because you have to go through him. You have to go through his witness. You have to receive his Ruach HaKodesh in order to even have the capacity to keep his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. Listen, if it were so, then there would be no need for Yahusha HaMashiach. If it were so, then we would still be doing exactly what we were doing, achieving whatever it is we were achieving, which we weren't really achieving anything, because in the end, we went into captivity. In the end, we went into captivity. Our people went into captivity because they disobeyed Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commandments. You ain't gonna keep them apart from Yahusha HaMashiach. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Jerusalem. By Hezekiah. I don't own the rights to this music. Listen, you ain't gonna keep them. You ain't gonna keep them. We going in. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Listen, you ain't gonna keep them. Apart from his Ruach HaKodesh, it ain't physically possible. And what you've seen in the Christian church ain't it. Because they ain't even keeping them. And actually, they teaching you that you don't have to keep them, right? But they ain't keeping them. And if you listen to this idiot Creflo Dollar, he tells you that Hasatan really wants you to keep the law in order to condemn you, right, in the law. Well, what? I'm telling you, this is not that. This is not that. This is not that. This is not that. You got to listen. You got to literally dissolve that whole Christianity thing out of you, because this is not that. And if you think that you're going to be established in Yahuwah in the Torah alone, look, you ain't going to make it. Our people didn't make it. They didn't make it. They didn't make it. A generation would come, serve Yahuwah. Then a generation would turn away from Yahuwah. Then a generation would rise and turn to Yahuwah, because Yahuwah would send a deliverer. Listen, do you understand the established pattern? Do you understand the established pattern, right? You can't keep the law, but when you turn to him, he sends you a deliverer. And that deliverer comes and turns the hearts, and he takes the enemies and destroys them. You don't hear me. Listen, this is a revolving wheel. As a nation of people, you have to get the clue. You have to get a clue. You have to get it. Listen, Yasharal, Yahudiy, you got to have a clue, right? You have to have a clue. See, the Gentiles, all they need to do is receive Yahusha HaMashiach, right? And his witness, boom, they in. They in. Receive his ruach, boom, they in, right? They ain't got no culture attached to us, right? They have no identity attached to us, right? Right? They have no track record attached to us, right? But see, Yahuwah has a people which he has called by his name, who he has constantly set forth deliverance for. And he used the same method every time. Every time. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Yahuwah always had a deliverer. Right? Right? Even amongst the nation, a deliverer. If the people would turn. If my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I would hear from the Shamayim, I would forgive their sins and heal their lands. Right? That's what he did. Every time. Every time his people turned. every time, until it got so ridiculous that he just was fed up with it. And he says, okay, I'm going to send you a deliverer, but it ain't going to be what you expected. Yeah. It ain't going to be a Dawid. It ain't going to be a Gideon. It ain't going to be someone that's going to come in and seize authority and destroy your enemies before you. No, it's going to be different. Though that's going to come. Right. That's going to come. Right. But the initial restoration of the people had to come through Yahusha HaMashiach. Yeah. See, and that was the deliverer. But see, he didn't deliver like they suspected. Oh, no. He didn't deliver like they suspected. Right. Because Peter's like, when are you going to restore the kingdom? At this time, it's not for you to know the day nor the hour, Yahusha told him. It's in the Father's hands. Right. But your redemption, right, your salvation has come. Right? Your salvation has come. You can now be in his kingdom, right? You can now have his ruach, right? You now have the capacity to keep his commandments, right? Because you can receive the ruach HaKodesh. Now, what I want you to do is go to Jerusalem and tarry. Fast and pray. Seek my face, right? And then what's going to happen? The Father's going to send you the ruach HaKodesh, and he's going to lead you and guide you into our truth. Everything that I've ever taught you, he's going to bring it back to your remembrance. You're going to be able to deliver this witness, right? Because this witness is what's going to establish people, right? It ain't the laws, the statutes, and the commandments that's going to establish people. Because if it was about the law, statutes, and commandments that establish people, right, then how did the Gentiles get established? Who had no law? Listen, it ain't the laws that's going to establish you, but by his ruach HaKodesh and the witness, you're going to be able to keep the laws. Oh, yeah. So apart from Yahusha, the deliverer, just like Yahuwah has done from time to time, right? But he always delivered with a mighty hand. Oh, yeah. He delivered with a mighty hand, right? He demonstrated his power. That Shem song, Samson, he delivered his power. Yeah. Shaul for a season until he fell off in witchcraft and wickedness, right? And then Dawid, a man after Yahuwah's own heart, conquered the known world, made everybody and every kingdom subject to him. They feared Yahuwah, and they feared the people of Yahuwah because they were called by the name of the one and only true Elohiym, Yahuwah. Zabaoth was his name. He had a son in the Shamayim who came and presented himself throughout time on constant occasions, right? And then he had the Ruach HaKodesh, which was his power, which he demonstrated constantly in the earth to deliver his people. Yeah, he's done the same thing over and over and over again. But see, this last time he came, right? He came as a redeemer through his blood and through the Ruach HaKodesh. Yeah. And now he's establishing his kingdom in you, who had the Ruach HaKodesh, who's supposed to be doing the same thing he did, reaching to Yahudiym first and to the other nations. You are called to reach Yahuda and to the other nations. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Yahuwah says there's nothing new under the sun. That which you have seen, I have done before. That which you will see, I will do again. Listen. You need to understand. Being Hebrew alone ain't gonna get you Yeshua. It ain't gonna get you Yeshua. Because Yahusha said, listen, there ain't no strong deliverer coming except Yahushua Mashiach. And you know what? He's going to establish his kingdom in you. And you're going to learn over time how to be obedient to him. Yeah. Because you're going to keep his Ruach HaKodesh and keeping his and having his Ruach HaKodesh, you have a seed. Now you have the capacity to live right. They rejected Yahusha. A remnant took it and ran with it. Yeah, a remnant got it out of Jerusalem. Yeah, before Titus Vespasian came in and conquered it and destroyed it and took all our stuff, our books, our scripts, took all that which represented Yahuda, Yahudiym, and Israel, and stored it in the Vatican. Y'all know our stuff is stored there. Listen. They knew what they had. They stored it. And then they distorted it. Yeah. They took it, they stored it, and they distorted it. Right? Right? Oh yeah. Listen. They profaned his name. Yahuwah. Yeah, they profaned his name. Right? They profaned it. Because they established this Christianity, which was a melting of elves. They changed his Shabbat, right? From sundown Friday to sundown Saturday to Sunday, the proverbial day of the sun, because they were sun worshipers. They worshipped all kinds of deities, but, they moved it to the sun worship day, and then they incorporated Christianity, right? And then they took the Torah and the Besorah and said, let's go and add this in there too and just make it Christianity, right? And then everybody can come together on Sunday and worship El. They profaned his name. When they changed the Shabbat, they profaned his name. Listen, that's why this will never be it. That's why this will never be it. They profaned his name. This is why it'll never be it. This is why it'll never be it. This is why it'll never be it. Because they profaned his name. Right? So listen, Bruce. You better receive the witness. You better receive the witness, because listen, there is no other name. There is no other conqueror. There is no other king mighty to save except Yahusha HaMashiach. And at his name, every knee is going to bow. Right? Having received the witness, right? Having been quickened, made alive by Yahuwah's ruach, right? He says, a new heart, Ezekiel 36:26, a new heart also will I give you, and a new ruach, having received this ruach HaKodesh, and I will put it within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. Right? Because you was cold, stone, wicked. Right? He says, listen, I will put my ruach HaKodesh within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do what? Listen. The only way to keep Yahuwah's statutes and judgments is by receiving his ruach HaKodesh. You ain't gonna keep them. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. That's why ye shall receive power. After the Ruach HaKodesh come upon you, you should be my witnesses. That's why Yahuwah said, listen, I was told by Yahuwah that when I see the Ruach HaKodesh descending upon him, it is he who is going to baptize you, the world, those who receive the witness, with the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh. Signs shall follow them that believe. They shall receive the Ruach HaKodesh. They will receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Signs follow to be a witness. That's what Yahusha came to do, to make us witnesses in the kingdom, to establish his kingdom. Not all of this other stuff. All this other stuff. We done got caught up in all this other stuff as Hebrews. All this other stuff. Listen, all this other stuff. Listen, it's a beautiful thing to be a Hebrew. right? It's a beautiful thing to be able to tell people who they are, right? It's a beautiful thing, right? But are you ensuring that those who hear your word understand that there is salvation in no other name? And that it's okay, it's a wonderful thing to know who you are, right? But you still have to receive Yahusha HaMashiach. Are you having people come up and you have an altar call? Are you making sure that the people of Yahuwah understands that it's not just knowing who you are, but being quickened to the ruach HaKodesh? Being quickened to the ruach HaKodesh, laying hands on people, praying that they will receive the witness in order to be able to discern what you're showing them ruachally. That's for somebody. That's for somebody. Listen. If this basora be hid, it be hid for those who are lost. Listen. It is. This is real. This is real. What Yahuwah has called me to deliver is real. And listen, you better get a clue. You better get a clue. And I don't care how redundant it appears. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing, and hearing, and hearing. Not having heard, but hearing, and hearing, and hearing, and hearing, and hearing. The more you hear it, the more you will establish emunah. Faith comes. Okay. Let's go. We're going into Yehukanan. Well, no, we're going into the Acts of the Epistles, right? The 18th chapter, right? Now, we know that Paul has been in Rome. He's been in Athens, right? We know that Paul has been in Thessalonica. He's been in Macedonia, right? We know he has been in Philippi because these are places that he's been, right? These are places that have recorded letters, right? Because after his missionary journeys, the second missionary journey, I believe it was after that he began to write letters, right? Because, it was a point in which Paul, was not able to get to these places anymore, right? Because he shut them down. And so, and having shut them down, he had to write letters, right? And it's also, he had other people that he had established in this witness, right? And we know that in that 17th chapter, right, after Paul had spoke to the sectarians and the what was that people? It was the Epicureans and the Stoics, right? And having preached the word on Mars Hill, right? Paul said, I look, you superstitious. You believe a lot of things. You believe in a lot of L's, right? But I noticed an L, right, that you have that has the inscription on it to the unknown Elohiym, right? Yeah, which you ignorantly worship, who is Yahuwah Elohiym, right? We have Paul having been to these places preaching the Basora of truth and establishing people who have received the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, and I identified with Paul, right? So it closes out the 17th chapter, the 33rd verse. It says, so Paul departed from among them, right? Paul departed from among them, right? In Athens. Howbeit certain men clave unto him. Certain Gentiles, they clave to him. Well, that word clave, let's look at that word claved. That word clave mean, the Greek word.
Strong's G, 2853, kalao.
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 It means to glue together, to cement, to fasten together. These men had received the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, right? No doubt baptized, no doubt received the blood of Yahusha, and no doubt received the ruach HaKodesh, these Gentiles, and they were glued. They were cemented. They were fastened to Paul because of the word, the witness, the demonstration, right? The demonstration of power. Because Paul was in this place for a season. He was in Athens, right? He was there, right? He was doing his thing, right? Because it says in the 17th chapter, the 32nd verse, and when they heard of the resurrection, some mocked, right? The dead, some mocked, and others said, we will hear thee again on this matter. Which means that Paul continued to preach in Athens until he had converts who cleaved to him. Right? Dionysius, Areopagite, and a woman, Damaris, and others that clave, having received the witness. Chapter 18, because that's what it looks like. He's establishing the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach among the other nations. Right? Because what the Christian church have demonstrated to you, it ain't that. It's just like Shaul going into Athens. Christian religion. It's just like Shaul going into Athens because they don't have the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. Listen, it's just like the Christian church, like Paul going into Athens, right? Because they don't have the witness. We as Yahudiym, trying to reach our people, are pulling them out of the church, pulling them from the paganism that is attached to Christianity. And there are going to be those that receive that witness and not. It's the same thing with Islam. Those who we are pulling out of Islam. Oh yeah, we doing it. We doing it. Listen, I know he won't mind. I have a young ox. I call him my Timothy, right? Has a brother who he's been witnessing to, right? The witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. Yeah. Yeah. Islam. Yep. Pulling him out. He has come out. Yeah, he's come out. In the Zoom every week. Unless there's something that comes up and he can't. We understand that. Received the Ruach HaKodesh's witness. Oh yeah, and is revealing the Torah, the Basora of Yahusha to him, having been in it most of his adult life. Come on, y'all listen. This is what this is. This is what this is. This is the Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh, the witness, does this. I love both of my young ox. Yeah. What's my young ox? Listen, and they understand. I tell them, listen, this ain't about just you sitting up in here trying to get a word from me, right? Because I know you have to hear a word because, that's why I Zoom it. That's why I do this, because I know it's important that you hear a word and that you answer questions from your moray that could give you some encouragement and instruction, right? Right, but all you got to do is you just got to listen to the YouTubes, and then when we have our Shabbat, we gonna entertain anything that you have to discuss. Right, we gonna pray, we gonna seek Yahuwah's face, and then whatever Yahuwah give us, we gonna give you. But that's for the purpose of you going out wherever you are and being a witness. That's what it is. That's what this is. That's what Paul did. He went to Gentiles, and these Gentiles cleaved to him. They cleaved to him. Y'all don't hear me. They cleave to him. And listen, I'm going to tell you this too. If you are under the sound of my voice, right, and you want to be a part of our Zoom, inbox me. Because my messages are on Facebook. right? They're on Facebook, and they're YouTubed, right? Just send me a message. Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you the Zoom. But listen, I ain't trying to gather people unto me. Oh, no. This is not what this is. This is the ministry of Yahusha, Mashiach, the witness, receiving the ruach HaKodesh, and getting what you need, right? In support and training in order to be a witness. Because, see, we need witnesses, right? We need witnesses in this Masorah of truth. We need witnesses. We need people that's going to witness to the Torah of truth. Okay, let's go. So, after these things, Paul departed Athens, right? So he was in Athens for a little while, but now he left, right? And he came to Corinth, right? And he found a certain Jew, a certain Yahudiym, named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, right, with his wife Priscilla, right, because Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome. It's time for you, Yahudiym, to go. You got to go, right? You preaching this Yahusha HaMashiach, right? Because you had Yahudiym that was there that was disrupting the program. And then you had the Yahudiym that was stirring up the Romans, right? Stirring up the Romans, right? Stirring up those people that were in the land, right? Starting to put pressure on Claudius. I said, look, y'all got to get out of Rome. You Hebrews got to get out of Rome. You Jews got to get out of Rome. Right? You got to get out. I don't care that you got synagogues in the place. You got to get out. Persecution. Because of the word's sake. He wasn't just putting them out because he didn't like them because they was Hebrews. Oh, he didn't like the brews, so he kicked them out. No! Because of the witness. Because of the witnesses, Yahudiym was coming in and they was preaching the Masorah of truth. Paul and Silas and Timothy and Barnabas and all the rest of these people that was cleaving to him, that was starting to disrupt their religion. I got to go. And I know it's y'all Yahudiym because y'all's the one. Y'all the one that's got this Lua or Yahuwah, right? Cole got the Epicureans and the Stoics and the other ones that sat around listening to philosophy all day. You got them kind of entertaining this whole idea of this unknown Elua and how the resurrected Yahusha HaMashiach is king. And how there is Yeshua in his witness. Oh yeah, y'all gotta go. That's why they were put out. They were put out of Rome. Right? Come on, man. And then Yahudiym had everything to do with it. Yeah, you know them Jews. Them Jews that was like, oh, were filled with envy. All right? They left, they lost their own synagogues. They got put out. They couldn't even use their own synagogue. See, that's what happens when you get started and start stuff. Right? Started stuff. All right? You got put out of Rome. You got to go. And Claudius commanded all the Yahudiym to depart from Rome. And came unto them, right? And because he was of the same craft, so Paul was of the same craft, he aboded with them and wrought by their occupation. They were tent makers. So, Paul hung out with them, made tents. It was their occupation. They made money. Paul supported his ministry. He made tents. There are times when you have to use what you have, your skills, your abilities to do certain things, to generate income, to establish you to do what it is that Yahuwah has called you to do. Because see, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Right? This is what the persecution looks like. When you start preaching the Basora of truth. See, places that you are, people going to start wanting you to go. Man, we got to get these Negroes out of here, man. Talking about a witness of Yahusha and Mashiach. They got to go. Listen, why do you think your relatives are going to turn you in? Not because you Hebrew, because they Hebrew. You crazy. You think that they going to turn you in because you Hebrew. Listen, and you crazy to think that being Hebrew alone is going to cause them to put you in stocks. Look, these folk always knew we were Hebrews. They ain't gonna cause us to be thrown in there. No, that ain't gonna cause us to be persecuted because you Hebrew. Listen, they were Hebrews in Yahusha's time. They weren't thrown into jail because they were Hebrew. Listen, man, y'all better get a clue. You better get a clue. You better understand. You better receive this witness, because that's where the persecution comes. That's why you're going to be persecuted amongst those in your own family. Right? Because they're going to cleave to Jesus. They're going to hold on to the witness of the Christian faith. Right? They're going to identify with the religious right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you sitting here moving around in the Ruach HaKodesh, right, with signs following now. Because that's what it looks like. You're going to get persecuted. Just look at you, man. Look at what the apostles went through. Look, y'all, we ain't doing that. That's where the persecution come. Listen, you ain't getting persecuted because you Hebrew. Listen, because mom and them talking about you, that ain't persecution. Look, they been talking about you before. That ain't persecution. That's not this. They didn't like Paul, right? But they didn't like Paul because of the word that Paul was preaching, right? You ain't preaching just being Hebrew. They don't care about you being Hebrew. You in a cult, they don't care about that. But if you start preaching Yahushua HaMashiach as a Hebrew, that he is Adonai Yahusha, and that Yahuwah Zava'o is Elohiym, you're going to get some persecution. You'll get some there. You start telling them that image of Caesarea Borgia hanging on the cross on a loincloth, that white-skinned guy with a crown of thorns on his head, that Christianity, that's a lie. That's profaning the name of Yahuwah. That's going to get you persecuted, right? That's going to get you persecuted, right? People ain't going to care about you being Hebrew. They don't care about you being Hebrew. They don't care about that. They don't care about that. You may have a few people like, oh, man, you ain't Hebrew. Oh, well, it's okay. You can say whatever you want to say, right? It's okay, right? But when you start having signs following, right, and you start having people turn, right, Hasatan going to amp it up then. He going to amp it up because they've received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Listen, they've received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, and they keep the commandments, right? They walk in the statutes. They keep the Torah, right? right? They've received the ruach hakodesh. They're established in the witness. They have been quickened, right? Who were once dead. They've been quickened. They've been made alive. They're seated in heavenly places in Mashiach, right? They have received the witness. They have received the ruach hakodesh of truth. They have the ruach of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of him. Yeah, because that's what happens when you receive the witness. And when you have that, right, you become a threat. You become a threat, right? Listen. These Negroes, right, that are in the awakening, they're in this purple and gold, right, march around deep, and ain't nobody did nothing yet. Deep, right, because that ain't the threat. You have these pro-Egypt dudes. You got these people who walking around with guns, right? Talking about they protecting people, right? They ain't did nothing yet, right? Negroes with guns, right? They ain't did nothing yet, right? Because they don't care, right? But when you start the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, and you start declaring the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, and you start winning people, Hebrew and Gentiles, to this witness, oh yeah, the persecution gonna start coming, right? Not because you're Hebrew, but because you received the witness, because now you're a threat. He gonna put you out. You got to go. Are you seeing this? You got to leave the city. You got to get out of America. You got to go. You don't want to be a part of this. You got to go. You got to go. And Yahuwah, being Yahuwah Lua that he is, if you have his ruach hakodesh, listen, he'll get you out. In that hour, when that time comes, he gonna get you out. Oh yeah, he'll get you out. Listen, I told you, like Philip, he'll teleport you out if you need to. Yeah. He gonna get you out. They don't want you out too. Not because you're Hebrew and you dress around, walk around in purple. Not because you this vigilante group, right? With guns. Negroes with guns, right? Black Panthering it, that used to bother them at one point, but they ain't worried about that. Because, they got them people too. Oh yeah, they got Boule, they got people in them organizations dictating things, right? They know how to pump the brakes. Because they're going to tell them when to pump the brakes, right? Oh, yeah. Them leaders of ICUC. Come on, man. They boule. They boule. Listen, and you know what? They so boule, right? And they ain't going to do nothing. It's going to be a problem. Because they can't. They can't. Right? But they'll do just enough. Get you screaming and yelling on the block, right? Calling people out of their name, swearing and cussing, holding the basor of truth. When the word says, let no corrupt communication come forth out of your mouth. You cold cussing and swearing, getting mad, right? Tell them you gonna rape their daughters because they raped our daughters. What? Come on, man. Look, you need the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. And see that stuff right there, that ain't gonna make nothing happen. It's that righteous man and woman that have received Yahuwah's ruach hakodesh. Yeah. That receive Yahuwah's ruach hakodesh, yeah, that's going to be that which stirs the pot. Yeah. When them signs start following and people start realizing that what these black folk had been experiencing, not just because they're Hebrew, but what it looks like in being the Mashiach's chosen. Right? Yeah, you start to have some signs following you. They're going to do you just like they did Mashiach. Look, we got to do something about this too, because, we got to kill him. Because these signs follow him. Right? And you ain't going to let that happen to you unless it's necessary. Just like Yahusha knew he had to die. Because that was the only way it was going to be established. The witness, the covenant, the receiving of the ruach HaKodesh, establishing us as a people. He knew he had to. Okay, let's go on. Right? So Acts. So they had the same occupation. They were tent makers. Right? And he, in the synagogues, because that's what Paul do. He straightened. He found Aquila and Priscilla. Like, oh, man. Okay. Right? And he reasoned in the synagogue every Shabbat and persuaded the Yahudiym and the Greeks. Right? So here's Paul spending time in Corinth, right? Making tents, probably assisting in the occupation of making tents when he ain't preaching, because Paul was straightened, because he understood his calling, he understood his ministry, right? He understood, right? And he reasoned in the synagogues every Shabbat. So every Shabbat he was in the synagogue preaching and teaching. It's reasoning, right? Talking to the people and convincing them, persuading them to receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Persuading them to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, of which they received. And it was Jews and Greeks. Yahudiym. And Greeks that were in Corinth. Right? Go on. And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, because Titus and Silas were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in the ruach and testified to the Jews that Yahusha was a Mashiach. So, Paul preaching and persuading people, right? And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in the ruach HaKodesh to testify to the Jews, Yahusha as a Mashiach. Because that's what Paul generally did. He brought the Mashiach that is in Ezekiel and the prophets to Yahushua Mashiach. He brought them together. And he persuaded the Jews concerning Yahushua Mashiach and how Yahusha is a Mashiach in the original covenant. Right? And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, right? Because Yahuwah, the Ruach HaKodesh in Paul, did this in order to help Paul understand, right, the Jews' rejection of his witness. And Paul right? As a result, this is what he does. He says, okay. And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, he shook his raiments and said unto them, your blood be upon your own heads. I am clean. He's talking to the Yahudiym, right? From henceforth, I will go unto the Gentiles. He says, I'm not pushing myself to preach to you Jews and show you how Yahusha was Mashiach. I'm not doing it. Right? Not doing it. And the Ruach HaKodesh in me moved me to do this so that I would understand that my mission and my focus is to the Gentiles. Yeah, I may preach to some Yahudiym, but my message is going to be to the Gentiles. Our people. Our people. It's like you're going to eventually get to the point where you're going to stop running to these Christian friends and family. Right? And preach Yahushua HaMashiach as the witness to the Yahudiym, to those who have an ear to hear. And to the other nations. Right? Y'all so caught up in trying to reach mama now. Because you don't want your mama to be lost. But the fact of the matter is, what if they are? Yahuwah has had mercy on you and established you in the kingdom. Right? What if they are to be lost? What if your sister or your brother to be lost? Excuse me. Right? What if your husband is to be lost? What if your wife to be lost? What is that going to do for you? Are you going to be established in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach? Come on, listen. This is how real this is. This witness is real. This is not pretend. Listen, you're going to have people that are going to turn on you because of this witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Because of what you represent and the signs that follow you who believe. Right. So, and he departed thence and entered into a certain man's house named Justus, one that worshipped Elohiym, whose house joined hard to the synagogue. Okay, so Paul's like, okay, look, he went to Justus. Right? He entered Justus' house. One who worshipped Elohiym, a Gentile, whose house was joined to the synagogue. These Greeks went to the synagogue. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. They may be Jews. They might have been Jews. Let's look at this. Justice. Who's Justice? Let's look at Justice. Just to make sure.
Strong's G 2459. Eustace.
His name means just. A surname of Joseph called Barsabas in Acts 1 and 23. Of Titus, a Christian at Qorinth, with whom Paul lodged. Christian. They throw that in there. Ain't no Christians. Titus, a Messianic at Qorinth, with whom Paul lodged. Titus. He was a Jewish proselyte of Corinth. Right? No, he was not a Jewish proselyte. He was a Jewish proselyte, which means that he was a Jew because he was proselyte, right? Right? Which means that he was of the other nation, right? So, justice is also Titus. This is what I'm understanding. At least that's what I'm understanding in terms of what they're saying. So, here we have Titus, right? Or justice. That worshipped the Lua. He was a proselyte, right? Whose house was joined to the synagogue would make sense. Because if he was a proselyte, which was a Jew, which was a Gentile that was converted to the Jewish religion, right? It would stand to reason he was in the synagogue, right? And Crispus, the chief ruler of the synagogue. Now let's see what Crispus is, right? Right? Crispus means
Strong's G 2921. Crispus.
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 His name means curled. A ruler of the Jewish synagogue in Corinth, baptized by Shaul, right? So he was a ruler, right? Now, he was a Hebrew. Justice wasn't. Because justice was, I think, was Titus, right? Whose house was joined to the synagogue. And Crispus, the captain or the chief ruler of the synagogue, believed on Adonai with all his house. And many of the Corinthians hearing believed and were baptized. So listen, right? Paul is reaching the Gentiles. He's reaching the Gentiles. Right? He is. Paul's reaching the Gentiles. Crispus, right, believed Adonai with all his house. Everybody in his house received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? And many hearing believed. Right? They heard the witness. They believed and were baptized. They were baptized, believed in the atoning blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, and received the ruach HaKodesh. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is why Paul went to the Gentiles. This is what it looks like. Right? Then spake Adonai to Paul in the night by a vision. He says, be not afraid, but speak and hold not thy peace. There was going to come a time and maybe has already somewhat began to deal with Paul, this fear of persecution. Because Adonai Yahusha appeared to him and said, listen, be not afraid. Because, they've been running out of cities at the hint of any sign of opposition. After, Paul was stoned, it took him by surprise. But Yahusha raised him up, right? He was able to witness and testify to it, right? To the brethren in Jerusalem, right? And then, him and Silas, they got beat, right? Right? These things still in the back of your head, that these things can happen, right? Right? And, you know, the Yahudiym, they don't like him. You know, starting stuff. And every time they start something, Paul gets stoned or beat. So, Adonai Yahusha comes to Paul in the night vision and tells him, be not afraid, but speak and hold not thy peace. It takes the ruach HaKodesh in you. And sometimes, even with the ruach HaKodesh in you, it takes a word from Adonai Yahusha in the vision. Yeah, because when the persecution starts, boy. Oof. Right? Right? So verse 10 says, for I am with thee, and no man shall set on thee to hurt thee, for I have much people in this city. So listen, you said, listen, go ahead and get out there and preach freely, because listen, ain't nobody gonna hurt you, because I got a whole lot of people in this city. I got plenty that's received the witness, and then I have plenty that received, that believe in Adonai, Alua, who you gonna preach to, and they gonna be converted. I got plenty people here. Yahusha said, I got plenty people here. You look. Don't you be concerned about it. I got numbers. I got numbers. I got numbers that you need to reach. I got numbers, right? And he continued there 1 year and 6 months, teaching the word, the witness of Elohiym among them. So, you know, Paul was teaching them, boy. He was establishing them. Paul was there for 1.5 years preaching and teaching in Corinth, establishing assemblies in Corinth. Listen. Teaching the word of Elohiym among them, right? And when Gallio was the deputy of Achaia, the Jews made insurrection with one accord against Paul. Here we go again, right? Yeah. See, your brethren, they gonna be the ones that gonna want to turn you in. They gonna be the ones that get you started. They gonna be the ones that make insurrection with one accord, with you in mind, because you received the witness, and you continue to share Yahusha to those who have an ear to hear. Some girls you used to hang out with on the block. To them brothers you used to hang out with on the block. To them girls you used to dance with. Climb on stripper poles with. Yeah. Where you used to be, but now you have the witness and now you're going to them. And now they coming to you, right? To them bros you used to slang weight with, right? Now you're going to them with the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Right, and they hearing you. Right. They're turning to you. Turning to the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Wanting to hear a word from you. Not all of them. Because everybody ain't going to receive the witness, but the ones that Yahuwah has chosen. That's why you can't get to the place where you're sitting around in some assembly just waiting for a Shabbat every week. You got people you got to reach. you've received the Ruach HaKodesh, you got to witness. You got to share this Besorah, this Torah of truth. Some of y'all been in prison. Y'all know y'all got dudes that's locked up in there. You'd be able to go into the prison and say, listen, bro, I've found freedom outside of prison. But you can have the same freedom until you get out in the prison. In Yahusha Mashiach. You Hebrew. And I've been thinking about you. I feel like I just needed to come tell you this. Woman that been locked up, listen. I don't hear me. With one accord against Paul, and brought him to the judgment seat. Now, you know, Adonai Yahusha told him ain't nothing going to happen to him. I already told him. Now, it's been a year and 6 months, right? It's been a year and 6 months, right? I mean, that vision may not be as fresh in his memory. But the word of Yahuwah is true, right? Right? Saying this fellow persuades men to worship a lure contrary to the Torah. And when Paul was now about to open his mouth, Gallio said unto the Jews, if it were a matter of wrong or wicked lewdness, O ye Jews, reason would that I should bear with you? But if it's a question of the words and names of your Torah, look ye to it, for I will be no judge of such matters. Now, you ain't getting me twisted up in this. You better deal with this your own self. You ain't getting me twisted up in this. This is your business. This is not my business. Right? Right? You gonna bring them to me, and this ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't care about that. He said that I should bear with you. He says, but if it be a question of your words and names, right? Because you're concerned about the name of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? And of your Torah, right? How Paul is revealing him in the Torah, but you don't like that, right? Look ye into it. It's your business. You look into it. For I will be no judge in your such matters. I don't care about that. Right? See? What Yahushua said was true. He said, listen, I got many people in here. He said, I got numbers. He said, you got nothing to worry about, Paul. I got numbers in this house. They ain't going to be able to do nothing to you. No judge of such matters. Excuse me. You go ahead and deal with it. Because I do not have any desire whatsoever to entertain these matters. Right? And he drave them out of the judgment. He said, get out of here. He drave them. That's what that drave means. He drave them out. He drive them off. That Greek word is
Strong's G 556. Apelauno.
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 Right. To drive away, to drive off. Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't have nothing to do with that. Get out of here. Right? Then all the Greeks took Sophanes, the chief ruler of the synagogue, and beat him before the judgment seat. Right? Okay. So the Greeks, right, took Sophanes, this Jew. Let's look at Sophanes. Let's look at that word. His name means
Strong's G 4988. Sosthenes. Sosthenes.
Sosthenes, right? Now, his name means savior of his nation. Causing trouble amongst the nation. Right? A Jew at Corinth who was seized and beaten in the presence of Gallio. Okay, let's read this. And all the Greeks took Sophanes, the chief of the synagogue, and beat him before the judgment seat of Gallio, because they cared for none of those things. Right? So, you gonna drag this man here. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I don't even care about this. Matter of fact, get out of here. Hey, go get me Sophanes, the chief ruler. Because Yahusha got people. Yahusha got people, man. See, listen, and this is the reason why you really, as one who has the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, right, in you, trusting, believing, depending on the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh and the word of Yahushua HaMashiach, have no need to fear. Right? Now, granted, right, Paul had experienced stoning. Right? Had experience. And see, listen, this is what the witness looks like. When you witness to you witness to Yahushua HaMashiach and had the Ruach HaKodesh, in signs following, and you demonstrating it by your exousia, your authority, and your dunamos, your power, operating in the Ruach HaKodesh, listen, you're going to get some persecution. Paul got stoned. He got whipped. And he got locked up. Right? For the witness. Now, everybody is not going to get that from the witness. It's not. Right? But the idea is that you still are to carry the witness. Still are to carry the witness. Listen, Aki. Listen, Akoti. You need to go back and carry the witness. You need to go back and carry the witness. If you perceive you who's now, if you ain't got the Ruach HaKodesh, then shame on you. You should have the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? You should, because if you don't, you can't do this. Matter of fact, you might get killed messing around. You can't do this. But if you have to see the Ruach HaKodesh, right, then shame on you if you don't go. You have an obligation to carry the Basora of truth. You have an obligation to go and reach them. You have an obligation. Listen, you got to do something. This witness requires it. This witness requires it. Don't quench the ruach. Don't quench the ruach HaKodesh. Don't quench the ruach. Don't quench the ruach HaKodesh. Don't quench the ruach. You have an obligation to reach Yahuwah's people, those he's chosen. And trust him in the ruach HaKodesh. Don't be fearful. Don't be fearful. Don't be afraid. Even Gentiles, listen. You've received the witness, right? You've received the witness. Don't be fearful. Don't be fearful of people. Yeah, you identify with Yahuwah and Yahusha. Yeah, you recognize who the people of Yahuwah are. Don't be afraid to declare the word, the Basora, the Torah, the witness. Listen, if you be ashamed of him before men, he'll be ashamed of you before his Father. Somebody needs to hear this. Listen. This is for somebody. Gentiles who have received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Don't you be fearful of going forth in this witness. Don't be fearful to tell these people that you know that the witness and the people and who they are and what it is. Don't you be afraid to do it. I'm just saying. You're ashamed before him. He's going to be ashamed before you. I'm just saying. That's the word of you. Listen, let's go on. Right. Verse 18. And Shaul or Paul, after this, tarried there yet a good while. So after this, Paul still stayed there. Could have been there like another year for all we know. He still tarried a while, right? He still stayed there a while, right? And then took his leave to the brethren and sailed to Syria. And with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shown his head in Corinth, for he had a vow. Okay, so Aquila made a vow, right? And he shaved his head, right? Paul and Aquila and Priscilla, and no doubt Silas and Timothy, right, sailed to Syria. Right? Because they took their leave of Corinthians. Right? Took their leave of Corinth. And they sailed. Right? And he came to Ephesus. Right? You know, he had a letter to the Ephesians, man. You know, I love Paul's letter to the Ephesians. He sailed to Ephesus and left them there, but he entered into the synagogues and reasoned with the Yahudiym. So Paul came to Ephesus and left them there. He left them in Corinth. And Paul went to Ephesus. But he himself entered into the synagogue and reasoned with the Yahudiym. See, Paul, he still loved his people. He's still trying to get them to understand Yahusha is Mashiach of the original covenant. Still reasoning with them. Still trying to show them how Yahusha, who died and was raised, who bore the sins of the nation and of the world, reasoning with them from the Torah, the Masorah, that Yahusha is a Mashiach. Right? And when they desired him to tarry longer time with them, he consented not. Paul said, "Nah, I'll stay with y'all. I went into the synagogue. I reasoned with you for a while, and then I'm gone." Right? But bade them farewell, saying, "I must by all means keep the feast that cometh in Jerusalem." Okay, so, right? So Paul didn't stay because he had to go to Jerusalem for the feast. Right? He had to go to Jerusalem for the feast. So Paul kept the Shabbats and he kept the feast. Right? "But I will return again unto you, allure wills." And he sailed from Ephesus, right? So when he was in Ephesus, he just preached to the Yahudiym. It was in and out. It was in and out, in the synagogue. They wanted him to stay. He said, "I got to go to Jerusalem. But I gotta preach. I got to take a moment, because there's a synagogue here. I got to go in and break off my Yahudiym." And they wanted him to stay. But he had to go to Jerusalem for the feast. And he sailed from Ephesus, right? "And when he had landed at Caesarea and had gone up and saluted the assemblies, he went down to Antioch." Right? So, Paul doing the work. Paul doing the work. No doubt in Jerusalem. No doubt telling the disciples the things that has been done in Antioch, letting them know what he's been accomplishing, right? Doing the work. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, we're gonna stop there, right? Second missionary journey complete. Paul about the work. No doubt been gone maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years. All the time he spent in the places that he's been. And the last place he was there over probably 2 years before he sailed from Ephesus. And yet Paul is returning for the feast, Jerusalem. And to give the church an update on how the Masorah is being preached and how people are being reached. He's doing the work. He is a witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. He is fulfilling that which Yahusha had told him to do. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. If you ain't doing this, you ain't doing it. And if you've received the Ruach HaKodesh, you quenching it. Because the Ruach HaKodesh is just not for you to shout and dance. It establishes you in his kingdom to establish others in the kingdom. Yahusha made a disciple of you, a witness of you, to be a witness to somebody else. He brought you through your life and experiences, established you in his witness, gave you his Ruach HaKodesh, and he wants you to go and establish his witness in the lives of those of whom you came out of. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha Mashiach. I pray, Yahuwah, that they would receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. The ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. That they would be establishing the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Yahweh, I pray that the words that you have given me to give to them, they would keep them. That they would be established in them. And that they would go forth in them. Yahweh, I submit myself to you daily. I do this daily because it is what you've called me to do. Yahweh, throughout this day, I pray that you would reveal to me, show me, have me. I am available to you. I thank you for all that you do. Yahweh, bless this, your people. Heal this, your people. Deliver this, your people. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I declare thy word of truth. The ruach HaKodesh of truth. The Basor and the Torah of truth. I thank you, Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach. Let the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, that's all I have. It's about the witness. It's about the witness. It's about the ruach HaKodesh. It's about the witness and the ruach HaKodesh. Walking, living, abiding, keeping Yahusha's Basor and his Torah. Demonstration, because this is what it looks like. The ruach HaKodesh, right? Right? Trusting in him, not being fearful to carry his Basora, not being afraid to open your mouth. You know Yahuwah spoke to you sometime. You could have been on a line at a grocery store. You know Yahuwah says say something to them and you did. You quenched the spirit. You be driving in your car. Yahuwah tell you something and you know you need to go somewhere and share something. You did. You quenched the ruach. You won't question the ruach. Right? Yahuwah has called you to do a thing. You need to do that thing. You need to trust the Most High. You need to trust the ruach HaKodesh that he's given you. That's if you're giving it to you. If he ain't giving it to you, you need to ask him for it. Because you need to receive the ruach HaKodesh in order to be in the kingdom. Bottom line. At the end of the day, you need the ruach HaKodesh for you to be established in the kingdom. But it's more than you. It's those who he has used you to reach. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness. Woman of Yahuwah, beautifully and wonderfully made. That's all I got. I'm praying Yahuwah's favor be upon you. I'm praying that you walk in obedience to the ruach HaKodesh and to the word of Yahuwah that he has given to you. And listen, fears of the devil, fear is torment. Hasatan would have you fearful so you won't do what Yahuwah has called you to do. And in the end, that's quenching Yahuwah's spirit. Especially if Yahuwah has already spoken it to you and you know it's what you're supposed to be doing. You better get out there and do it. You better not wait for no man to tell you can. You better not. You better do what Yahuwah told you to do. That's all I got. Man of Yah, woman of Yah. With that I say, listen. Shalom, shalom, and shalom.
Torah Guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.